Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of What's New Mama podcast. We are your hosts, Giselle and Amy. So last week we did like a little mini series. We did relationships post baby with your spouse, one episode, and then with your partner, and then the other one is friends and family. I wanted to throw it to you, Amy. Is there anything there that you feel like you kind of left, like a stone left unturned or whatever, that you might want to go back
to bring up? You're just like dying for me to say something about those girls.
No, no, a little bit. I don't know. Maybe
you're like, come on, say something. Maybe you guys will talk again. No. I mean, you know how I felt about that. I was just like, whatever. I'm just gonna throw it out there into the universe, and I think that was my way of purging that kind of resentment maybe that I had a little bit with them still because of what they did. So just talking about it in itself made me feel a whole lot better. And I'm like, what the hell was I so mad about for like all these years? Like it was still like in the back of my mind a little bit. But I think it helped. It just helped talking about it and putting it out there. So that's as much as you're going to get from me.
I agree. It is therapeutic. It is therapeutic. And that's one of the things I told you. I was like, even if nobody listens to the podcast or watches it on YouTube, I don't care, because I mean, I do care, but it's therapeutic. And like, I feel better just like even talking, like putting it out there. It's I'm no longer going to be like harboring whatever these thoughts are. It's out there. That's it. I'm done. But yeah, I'm glad that you feel better. I feel like I had something else to say about it, but I don't remember now.
Oh, because, mom brain.
Mom brain. No, okay, I know. I thought about it the other day because, I was just talking to my friends, and one of the things I believe I said in the other episode was, it's all about like perception is one thing and intention is another. But like, what's the bridge that's going to connect the two and kind of build communication and rapport? I think it's going to be understanding and effort and willingness to hear the other person out. Because even if you don't agree with the other person and like their sentiments, like, no, that's not at all what happened or whatever, you have to at least respect and validate those feelings that they're having or that you're having towards the relationship. And accept that for what it is, because I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah, it is. I know. I can attest to that, because I think it's probably like the Gemini in me that I'm pretty like, once that's it's done for me, and I block you out.
Yeah. But clearly there was a part of you, another side of you that was holding on to it a little bit.
Yeah. But like it was like just really funny memories and funny stuff we did and stuff, because we used to like hang out all the time and do things. So, it just
get into trouble
all the time. You have no idea.
I think, and I don't know, maybe you might argue this, or anybody else out there, I think aside from you having a child with somebody and that kind of relationship, I think friendship breakups might be one of the worst kind of breakups ever, at least to me, because I feel like this person, like they were your ride or die, and like they were there with all these other relationships that you had, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, right? The dating history. And then you always look back at those good memories and that history, and you're like, what happened to us? I feel like to me, that's probably the worst breakup possible. I don't know. Do you agree?
To me, it's just like, it's invested time that I'm like, wow, I really invested my time and effort with you, and you just like threw it away. Okay. And I think that makes me more angry than anything.
But does that hurt you more as opposed to if it's like a partner relationship?
I guess. I mean, I think I talked about it before in one of the other episodes, but like, I'm like one and done. When I would break up with people, it was just like, it didn't bother me for some reason. I just I just closed that and just kept it moving. So I think I'm the same way with friendships too. Like I'll close that and I keep it moving, because there's no way that I'm just going to like keep sulking with it. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you have to.
I don't know how I do that, but my mom always is like, you're so weird. you just like close it and that's it. And you don't hear anything about this person anymore, ever again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's your process. It's the way you do things.
I'm not sure why or how I do that, but I just do it.
And this is why we work too, because I'm over here. I'm the type, if I have any sort of breakup, I'm an R&B person. So I throw on my Tony Braxton. I throw on all of my, emotional. I like to that stuff. To feel it. Like I'm like, no, I need to feel this. And like, I think about it, but I do think about like, oh man, that was fun. Like that was a good time, you know, but I am very like, I need to unbreak. Like I need to like Tony Braxton it up. And like, I don't know, that I genuinely enjoy it. It's like, I'm torturing myself. What is it? A masochist? Like, I feel like I need to like, I don't know. And I say that because I just getting over my period. Well, kind of. Like, I'm kind of in the middle of it. Yeah. But I was listening to all those songs. Oh my God. And I was like, why do I do this to myself? But yeah, that's just me. See, this is why we work.
Because I'm like completely opposites. The opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, we're opposites. But anyway, that's a little bit too much about me, I guess. I can't believe I actually try to like hit a note. Okay. No, so wait, what was I? All right, so we're done with that, right?
Yes,
we're done with the relationship stuff for now. That's it, one and done, right? One and done.
Let's go.
We're done. In this case, it was 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was one of the things that we were talking about earlier?
How I have to go get bra fitted? Is that what it is?
You have to get bra fitted.
Because my bras are slipping off and I have like a dresser, like a drawer full of like an area of bras. And I'm just like, I can't wear any of them. I stopped breastfeeding in September and I still haven't had the time to go get measured because I know there's like, changes. Obviously, I'm either very saggy now.
Those are the new boobies.
And then,
the new
boobies. It's like everything's falling off, like the straps are like,
they're loose.
Yeah, super loose or, whatever. I'm just like, I gotta go do that. But I was telling you that I go down here, actually in my town, there's a lady that does it. She has a boutique. It's like, she sells...
so you go to like a little boutique. Yes. You don't go to like Victoria's Secret.
No, if I didn't have that here, I would go to Victoria's Secret or Bloomingdale's or whatever. But no, just go to the lady here. I'm not going to say the name because I'll give away too much.
No, of course, yeah. I have a question for you because I joke with Tom about this. I'm like, once we're like really done, like done, like, okay, no more kids. I'm like, I think I might get a boob job. I'm not going to, not implants because I already have double D's, but I'm talking about like, just a little bit of a lift or like, whatever. Because with breastfeeding, I'm like, I don't know, they change.
They perk back up to where they're supposed to go. You have to give your body some grace and time to get back to where it was, I think. I mean, I don't know. At least for me, I don't think they're as bad as you think they are.
No, I mean, they look the same. They're similar, but I just feel like if I have like 2 more kids, or whatever, I don't think
start looking like cow. Cow.
But I've always been busty, right? So like for me, I've always wanted to have a reduction. I would tell Tom all the time, I'm like, I'm tired. I want to go to like an A or a B cup and just be done with it. So that's another part of it. Like, it was the whole breastfeeding thing and kid thing, but I'm kind of like, maybe just downsize.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't even give you my opinion because I've always been a B cup.
Why?
I have small boobies. So
no, see, I would rather
small boobies. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But if you do that,
well, anybody out there,
that's good because one of my friends did that. I mean, before babies, which probably wasn't the smartest idea, but it did help her alleviate some back pain and stuff that she had. So, yeah,
it's a lot of. So that's why I have a crazy trap game because
keep them toned.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. It does. It does. It's a lot to carry. Especially like once you breastfeed, the engorgement and all of that. I don't know. It's a thought. I don't know. I'm all over the place right
Speaking of
now.
that, like I was thinking about unsolicited advice that we were going to talk about, but
Yeah.
more like unsolicited comments is what I used to get. Because now that I'm thinking about this booby thing, it's like people were like, "Damn, your boobs are going to get huge when you're pregnant," like kind of
Oh,
situation. I was like, "Are you looking at me? Like, what are you
like,
talking?" I
oh,
was
hi,
like,
complete
but it wasn't
stranger.
like, no, it was actually like a coworker. And it was
No,
like a
but
dude.
even
I was
strangers
like,
do say
ew,
things like
why
that.
are you thinking of that?
Ew.
Exactly. I was like, ew. I was like, really? Ew, is that what you're going to focus on? Not the fact that I'm going to be carrying a kid for like
Yeah.
9 months?
Like, what makes you think that's
No,
appropriate to
yeah. Well,
say?
I've been full of inappropriate
I
comments.
know. We've spoken about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so it went both ways.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no. It is interesting. Like people would be like, "Oh, hey, have you had a like what was it? The snail trail yet?" And I'm like, "What?"
What is that? Wait, what?
When you So, you know when you get like discharge when you're
Uh-huh.
pregnant? Like like that
Uh-huh.
wetness,
Uh-huh.
like that's what they were
Ew,
talking
why?
about.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you? I was like, mind your business. Oh, that's so
I had
intimate.
I had one person that's close to me that said it. I
Uh-huh.
didn't mind. Actually,
Oh,
EJ,
okay.
I didn't mind, but when because I was working up until I was like 8.5 months pregnant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like a client would like she was like talking to me about stuff and we don't know each other like that,
Mm-hmm.
but she was like, "Oh yeah, have you experienced this and have you experienced that before? Oh, it's gonna happen. Wait, you'll see." Or or like I would complain like, "Oh, I have my sciatic nerve was killing
Mm-hmm.
me," or I couldn't sleep because I'm a stomach sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't sleep on my stomach, obviously. And she's like, "Oh, well, enjoy the sleep now because later on, whatever." Did that annoy you, or is it just me? Like when
Make
people
sure
would be
you
like,
sleep now.
"Enjoy this now." No, even like enjoy blank now because
Later on, you're
wait
not
till you
gonna.
get to
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And I'm like, yeah, can I just complain or like
Yeah.
bitch about whatever I'm going through right now without you telling me like, oh, wait till later because it's gonna be worse or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
I
That
don't
used to
know.
annoy me
I
too.
kind of went through that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, oh, wait till you're done with breastfeeding or formula feeding, whatever it is. Wait till you're changing diapers of actual food consumption poop.
Mm-hmm.
Like those type of
Mm-hmm.
comments. And I'm like, let me bitch about
So I'm
the
not even there
breast milk
yet.
diapers that I have to. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, no, it's weird how comfortable people are
Mm-hmm.
when you're pregnant. Did anybody try and touch your belly without
Um,
your consent?
I'm trying to remember. I don't think so because I used to be. Well, I worked with Sienna with my first pregnancy. I worked
Yeah.
on a construction site. So first of all, that would be very very forward of someone to do, especially since I was
Yeah.
one of two women on the team.
Mm.
Yeah, they wouldn't. I don't remember them like even asking me. They would just see me like walking around. Like the few times I had to go on the construction site, people would be like,
Hmm.
"What the hell is this girl doing here?" Because I was like out to here, walking around with my hard
Yeah.
hat, looking, just like looking over the project
Yeah.
because I had to. I had no other choice because people are sometimes dumb. Um, no, I don't think so. I think the one time that I did was like, what the fuck is wrong with this person? Was I had a meeting and it was this project manager that came in and I was like, oh, hi. And he was like, oh my God, my wife's pregnant too, but she's so much smaller than you.
Oh,
I stopped
oh
and I was
no.
like, what? And I looked at him and I said, what did you just
No.
say? And he goes, yeah, she's so much smaller than you. I was like, well, you have some balls telling me one more time. And I was
Ooh.
just like, well, everyone
Yeah.
carries differently. But I wasn't like big. You couldn't even tell I was pregnant from the back
Yeah.
because that
Yeah.
was another thing. Someone pushed me down the escalators on going down to the train because she was trying to beat.
What do you,
She was trying to make the train that was down there. So she pushed me down the escalator because
whoever's
she assumed I wasn't pregnant because
what?
you couldn't tell because I was like skinny from the back
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
all I had was the belly. She
Yeah,
pushed me
I had the same thing.
with the
Like,
hands, and I grabbed myself. I turned around and I grabbed her by her jacket, and I was like, "You're not going anywhere until you say excuse me and sorry and apologize because I am pregnant. Why are you pushing me?" She turned around
oh my
and
God.
it hit her when she saw me, and she was like, "Oh my!" She profusely excused herself for 5 minutes till the next train, and I
Oh,
made her miss the train until the next train came. Because I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "There's no way." And then after that, I had to slow down because I started spotting.
yeah,
After that, like incident, I was spotting, and I got
yeah,
scared because I was just
yeah,
like, "I have to slow down," because I grabbed this lady. I don't even know. I was
yeah,
just like, "Where are you going?" But I
yeah.
was,
But it's that instinct of you're not gonna do this to me, and like you forget that you're pregnant and that you have this. And I have a story for you. Just reminded me because Tom, like, he almost yelled at, like, he didn't yell at me because he doesn't really yell, like, but he was okay. So I worked at a retail
mm-hmm,
store, right? Like, I was a manager, and people would come in and steal, and like it would be people with like knives and like whatever,
mm-hmm,
whatever. And I was working because, and Tom's like, don't go to work, don't go to work. I was like, I need to go to work
mm-hmm.
because I like going to work, whatever. And I remember this one guy tried to steal like a stack of clothes. And it was just like, and I was like talking to him and all that. And I just remember like, hey, like trying to grab the stuff back, which I shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
But my instinct was, you're not going to come into my store
Mm-hmm.
and like steal things on my watch. But that was just, and I also have hormones. Like we have
Yeah.
hormones that are raging within
Yeah.
us too. So that's a part of it too. And I remember pulling it and like he like pushed me
Mm-hmm.
back, like, but, and you could see like I worked at a yoga, like fitness, like
So obviously
store.
you could
Like
tell.
I'm over here
Mm-hmm.
walking around with leggings and like a sports bra and a cute little whatever, right? So you could see my belly. I was very open about
Mm-hmm.
it, right? And it was in that moment that it hit me. I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, I need to check
Mm-hmm.
myself. And I just remember like having that
Mm-hmm.
adrenaline of, oh my God. And I called Tom and I was like, hey, I just wanted to tell you this just happened. Cause I had to also report it and like do all the stuff and cops and blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. But he's like, Giselle, you're pregnant. Like,
Yeah.
what are you
Yeah.
doing? You don't know if this guy would have stabbed
Mm-hmm.
you, would have, and it's in the city. Like that was when all these articles were coming out about people like stealing and stabbing workers for no
Mm-hmm.
reason and all of that stuff. And that was like my
Yeah.
check
Your wake up call.
of I
Yeah.
need to I need to chill out. Like I can't keep doing that. But
Well, glad that
I don't
didn't
know what I would have
escalate.
done if like
Yeah.
no, I know. But you forget,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? You forget like you just know that you're being threatened in one way or another. And so I feel like that's when that mama bear instinct kicks in
Yeah.
too, in a way where you're like, kind of like how you
Oh my
grabbed
God.
this
I don't even
lady,
know
like,
why I did that. I was like, where are you going? Because I was like, if I
you're
fall,
like,
because I
get
had to
over
hold
here.
on, and by some miracle, I didn't tip over. Because I was like, if I fall, this bitch is coming down with me. I'm taking her down, and I'm gonna fall
Where,
on top of her.
what's,
It was the
what station was that?
53rd and 5th, the EM, the one
Oh,
with the
okay.
long
Oh,
escalator that goes
yeah,
over.
yeah. I was going to say, that's the long
Yeah,
ass
yeah.
escalator.
Those sometimes wouldn't
That's,
work, so you would have to walk down. Yeah, that was fun.
yep. Yeah. That and like Broadway Junction, I think are the worst freaking
Yeah.
escalators. Oh my God. Was anybody around?
Um, there was probably one person all the way down. I mean, if I remember, and then maybe people. I'm sure someone saw that shit because they were probably like, "Damn, this girl's crazy." But what I was trying to tell you was that I was so skinny from the back, you wouldn't even be able to tell that I was pregnant. So the
Yeah.
comment of that guy that when he came to the meeting, he was just like, "Oh, you're so much bigger than my wife," kind of situation. I was like, "Well, fuck you."
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, and
Yeah.
that's the best you can do. I was like, I feel really bad for your wife if this is the comments that you have for me, is what I was thinking.
That you feel
Yeah, I
comfortable
was
saying
like,
that.
wow,
Yeah.
okay, all right. He was like, how far
Like,
along are you? And it turns out I was actually further along than his wife, so that's why I was still a little bit bigger. And I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, dick, like, come on, man. The
Yeah.
restraint that
It's
I had to
funny.
do
Like,
to not smack people
I know.
around sometimes was
Yeah.
incredible. Incredible.
Yeah. But would it had made you feel different if it was another pregnant woman saying that to you?
No, I've been like, everybody's pregnancy is different.
No.
No. Like, why do you care?
But you wouldn't, I don't think you would have raged as much.
Maybe,
I think you probably would have been like, well, no,
maybe. I don't know.
because, and I only ask because that would happen to
Uh-huh.
me at work, right? Like, because I would get, women looking for like leggings
Mm-hmm.
and like things to like work out in and all that. And they were like, what are you wearing? And I would bring whatever I was wearing. And I didn't really look pregnant. Like, I looked
Mm-hmm.
bloated up until maybe like 5.5 months or something like that. And I remember I would have all these women come in, and some of them would they would come to me and they were like, how far along are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm almost 6 months. And she was like, oh, she's like, I'm so much more bigger than you. And they were like lesser months.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's fine. Like, everybody
Yeah, it's
carries
different.
differently. You also have to take into account, like what your fitness level was before as well. Because if you have abs before, it's not going to be as protruding, and your frame, like, I gain and lose weight
Mm-hmm.
evenly. Like, that's just my body type. And, I had to like explain it, and like, cause she felt
Mm-hmm.
bad, cause she's like, I'm way bigger and I'm only 3.5
Mm-hmm.
months. So like, that's why I asked what it had made a difference if it were, a woman that
Oh,
was also
maybe. I don't
pregnant.
know.
Cause
I never got approached by women. Only the men have the audacity to speak out.
gotcha. Gotcha. I did have some men comment, like they would come into the store too, and they would comment and they would be like, oh, you're
Mm-hmm.
pregnant? Like, I couldn't even tell or whatever. I was like, yeah, I'm pregnant. Like, but at that point, I guess it didn't bother me, but it would bother me if it was a comparison
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
situation of, oh, my wife's much smaller, much
Yeah.
bigger.
Hmm.
It's like, why
And
would you
I
say
still
that? But
remember
like,
his
why did,
face too. And I was just like, I keep thinking about that guy. It's like, I bet your ass your wife left you for your comments.
see, so this is not a one and done for you. You're still lingering on this one. That's funny. You're gonna be like, go on Instagram or something or Facebook and look it up and see.
Yeah, actually, I should.
He's an old coworker, right?
No, he was just the one I had to work with because he was in charge of some materials that I had to purchase for the project. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Did you ever get advice like, oh, make sure that you do formula with cereal,
Oh, my
or
mom
don't
always
even
was
bother
like,
don't even
my
bother
mom
breastfeeding.
actually,
Like, don't do that.
surprisingly, was always gung ho about
Okay.
like, let's do formula. But I don't know. I don't even know why. She went and she actually bought me little bottles of formula to use. And I was like, the
Yeah.
hell we need this for? I'm trying to breastfeed. Like, like give me a
Yeah.
chance
Yeah.
first. And then she would be like, oh, they're too skinny. Here, put cereal in there. And I used to be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll do it. No problem.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. Bye. Go.
my
Bye.
favorite
Bye.
was you have to like clean their mouths after eating milk, which is true. You do. You take like a little
Yeah.
cloth with
Yeah.
water or whatever it is, very little bit,
Yeah. To
Yeah.
prevent like
She wanted
thrush.
me to
Yeah.
use honey. I think it's called miel de rosa is what she was at. And she bought me like a little thing. And
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't give honey to babies, right? Like not before
Yeah.
1 year. Yeah.
A year.
I was like,
Yeah.
why are you giving me this? You're trying to kill my kid.
I feel like you said that to your mom a
all
lot.
the time.
You're, try-
All the time. You're trying to kill my kid.
you're trying to
It's-
kill my kid, because I remember you saying that with the cereal
Yeah.
part.
I know. I mean, there's it's just the tip of the iceberg with her. She tries to kill us too on the low.
Yeah. She's like, well, I did it with you, so it's totally fine. When my mom does that too, but the way that I deal with her is, at first I used to get really annoyed, and she'd be like, pero a ti no se te puede decir nada, entonces. And it's like, just because I'm telling you, no, I don't want to do the advice that you're giving me that I did not ask for to begin with, doesn't mean that you can't give me advice in general, right? Like, it just means, no, I'm not doing that. And that's okay. But she takes it as like a personal attack against her, and I am discrediting and dismissing her in every which way, right? So dramatic. It's like a novela, like so dramatic. And I'm like, I just don't want to do that. And then bottom line is, like, one conversation got really like heated. I was like, he's my son. Okay. I am his mother. I know what I'm doing. This is not, and I would always say this, I would be like, esto no son los tiempos de antes. Like, this is it. This isn't decades ago, okay, where we're putting rum or cereal or whatever it is, right? Let me do my thing. And then she'd be like, oh, you need to put Vicks Vapor Rub and Vivaporu on the whatever. I'm like, do you know that if you read the
It
label of
says
Vicks, it
nothing
says
to
do not
drink.
use under
2, I think.
I think it's 2. Yeah. So I would tell her, and then she's like, "Oh, I didn't know.
Menthol's too
Like, yo no
strong for their
sabía.
lungs, for their
It's
yeah."
too
I'm like,
strong."
dude, what? Yeah, my mom used to
Yeah.
do the same thing. It's so funny. Like Vicks is for everything.
Oh,
But I'm thinking, so you were more confrontational, or was it because your mom just kept pushing things?
at first I was more defensive. I wouldn't say confrontational because she would push for something, and I would tell her no. Like, I'm good, or I would do what you did, like, okay, all right. And then she would just keep pushing. And I think it really escalated with the RSV
Yeah, because you were
situation
already
because
anxious.
she was 2 months old, right? And I'm here still struggling with the breastfeeding part. But she's like, no, do this, do that. Or, you know, she'll say little things like, it was because he didn't have a hat on, or where did you take him? And I'm like, wait. This isn't my fault.
Yeah, they're very quick to blame.
There's just like,
yeah,
and so I needed to not answer those calls. And so I had to set a boundary. And what I would do is I would just send her pictures and I would control the conversation. And I said it in the last episode, I keep the conversations within a certain couple of minutes. And
yeah, because you already know.
That's it. That's the cutoff. Right. So, you know, it turned into that. But then now, you know, I just try, like, she's like, oh, what are you doing with his teeth and this and that or whatever. I was like, oh, I'm doing this and that, but how are you? How's it going? So I would just steer the conversation away, or I would put Derek on FaceTime and have her
That'll
talk
distract
to him
her enough, yeah.
and just do that. Enough, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But with the food situation, like that was like I would do the baby led weaning with the finger foods and things like that. She's like, he's gonna choke.
Yeah,
he don't do that. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, it's bad enough that I already feel this way when I'm watching him eat. I don't need my mom or anybody else saying he's gonna choke, because I'm trying to not project my fears onto the baby,
then he's gonna get
because
scared,
he's learning, right? Yeah. And gagging is a natural part of it, and blah, blah, blah. I know this. I've done the research. I read the articles and all stuff. Let me try this out. I don't need her to stir up the anxiety and the fears. So that was one of the conversations that I would never call her. And if she called me while I was feeding him, I would talk to her afterwards. But then one time I sent her a picture and he was eating blueberries. And, you know, you got to like mash it up and whatever, but he can still eat it. It's safe. So I sent her a picture of it. She calls me, mira, tú no le puedes dejar él comer, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. That happened hours ago.
It's even more funny for me because I could picture your mom saying half the stuff.
Yeah. and then Tom would be like, why do you let her get to you like that? Like, you already know. I'm like, I know, but you know, it's just, you're also dealing with the postpartum and all of that stuff naturally, right? Whether you go through the extremes of it or not. So to have somebody else kind of be in your ear, you know, saying little things, your fears, your anxiety get heightened. That was one thing that would annoy me. But, you know, that's moms. I feel like there's no mother that I've spoken to. I think I was a guest on Lena's podcast last week, and we were talking about it, and she's like, that's just moms. Like, that's just every single mom that I know that has given birth. They're like, yeah, my mom drives me crazy because they insist that they know more than what we know, which could be a possibility, but let me parent how I want to parent.
I take all her advice with a grain of salt. I'll think about it first. Like, all right, maybe I'll try it, you know?
Yeah.
Give her the benefit of the doubt for certain things. But like you were saying with my mom, I tend to send her photos of things and then I'll look at before I send it to her. Cause I'm like, what's she going to say about this photo?
Do they have socks on? Do they have socks on?
My kids have this bad habit of sitting on the kitchen counter. Right. So I don't send her any pictures of them sitting there helping me cook because she's like, ooh, they're going to fall. what if they fall down from the kitchen counter and
Yeah.
all this? And it's like, okay, ma, he's like 2. He doesn't, he knows. He
Yeah.
knows.
He's not rolling off the
He
counter.
knows. He
like
sits all the way inside and he's just helping me like do stuff. But yeah, so I always super analyze all the photos before I send them, because there's something, always something in there that's just going to be like, no, what are you doing?
Isn't it interesting? Because like I'll do the same thing and I'll send a picture to my mom, and I'm like, and she wears glasses all the time, right? And she claims she can't really hear well sometimes, most of the time actually. And she can't really see without the glasses. But I'll send her a picture, and then she'll come back with a comment about the hair, or where's his socks, or why is he wearing short sleeves? It's cold out. I'm like, we're in the house.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But then I go and I'm like, for somebody that can't see without glasses, you can see a lot. When I send you these pictures, like, she's like, oh, what about this? And then she'll start laughing. So like, I've learned to just like do that
just
angle,
use some humor,
and like joke with her. Yeah, because she's always gonna have something to say. And my brother and I, like Jess, like we all know this about my mom already, and that's just who she is. So we've learned to pivot. Like if the kids are sick, I was talking to Jess the other day. She's like, don't tell your mom Ava's sick. I didn't tell her anything. I just told her not to come over. And I'm like, all right, cool. I won't mention it. But those are the type of things that we just have to do because to keep our sanity. Outside of mothers though, is there anybody, like, I know you've taken the kids to like the library and to other classes and things like that. Have you ever had a mom be like, oh, hey, you should really be doing
No, I don't
X,
think
Y,
anyone's
Z.
really said anything here because, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm not, like I always tell you, I don't have the friendliest face. I'm always very serious when I'm walking around because I'm focused on them, because I don't want them starting trouble.
Yeah.
Because they can get very loud and very rambunctious very quickly. So I'm always focusing on them.
Yeah.
Like, be quiet, sit down, read a book, do what you need to do. Like, keep it orderly, because I don't want anyone telling me that you guys are misbehaving or doing anything, because I'm going to lose my shit. Not on you guys, but on them. So I'm always like, so I always tell you that I just don't like the friendly. So no one really says anything to me, really. Like, but I do look out for like facial expressions. and maybe I read it.
So you go looking for the judgment.
Like, maybe I read too much into it, because I feel like, make a face and I'll tell you about your kids. No. My thing is like, the only time I would step in for like saying anything, if it's getting to the point where it's bothering my child or anything, I think that's the only reason why I would step in to say anything to anyone, or vice versa, I hope, because I try to be respectful of how moms are with their own kids, because it's like, it's none of my business. Like, at the end of the day, it's not my business. It's just, if that's how they are at home, that's fine, as long as it doesn't interfere with my kids or me. That's how I handle it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
How about you?
That's has anybody
said anything to you? No. That's what I thought.
No. And
because you're serious too.
I do.
I know,
like,
you got the serious face too.
I do, and I am on defense mode, but it is a part of, like how you said, like, Derek, be careful.
Yeah, because
like,
you're focused on them.
I need to make sure that. Yeah, and it is a stressful time when you're outside with the baby, because he's also learning how to walk. So watching, make sure he doesn't trip and fall.
Face plant on the concrete, it's not fun.
Right. So yes, I'm on like hyper alert, but I'm weird. I guess I'm weird because when I go to the library and stuff, I'm usually the one that's very like, hi, or like I have snacks for not just Derek. I bring snacks just in case for any other kid that might see, because that's happened before. Derek's like eating one of those teething crackers, and another kid will see it, and they're like, "Oh!" Like they'll go to try and get it. So I'll always ask the parent, "I have extra if it's okay. They're organic. They're this, whatever." So I'm usually very like friendly, unless you give me a reason not to. But I do walk around with a certain face, because I'm very much like, don't fuck with me, but I'm very friendly. But that's a New Yorker thing. I mean, that is a New York City thing, because when you're used to walking around down the street and you're getting harassed and you're getting like, oh, hey, ma, what's blah, blah, blah. You walk with this face,
Yeah.
even though you're like in a perfectly fine
Yeah.
mood, but you
I've
have to
gotten the
kind of
why
keep
don't you
your,
smile some more comment.
yeah, oh, God,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
disgusting. Did you get hit on while you were pregnant?
Where was I? Where was I? That I think I did. And I remember Victor was like, oh, that's gross.
Yeah, like, dude, are you kidding me? I'm pregnant with somebody's kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
yeah, but it's like, I don't know. I've gotten hit on the construction site before, and it was strange because it was like, you can't do that, because I was working for the company that was building the building. So it's like you weren't allowed to do that really. And it was like a sign of kind of disrespect.
yeah.
And I remember my coworker was like, this guy's gonna get in trouble if they find out or whatever. And I was just like,
Oh, so he was like
yeah,
openly
it was like we were on the
hitting on you?
elevator, like the hoist that goes outside, the outside elevator.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And he was like just talking to me the whole time.
What
I don't
was the
even
line?
remember,
What was the stupid
because
line?
I had like, I think it was like food or something we were taking for a meeting. It was like me and the rest of my team was on there, and I was just like standing there, and they all came in, and I'm trying to remember what he said. I don't know if he was just trying to get me to give him something to eat or whatever, because he was going down for lunch or something. And I was like, yeah, sure.
Oh,
But
yeah, he wanted
like,
something to eat, all right.
Yeah, sure, here. Like, whatever. These are extra from whatever we were doing upstairs. You could have some. And he was like, oh, and he was just like right here. Everyone's facing that way because that's the way out. And he's like just facing me the whole time. And everybody was just looking at him like, okay. I don't know if I was pregnant then or not. I can't remember because, so many incidents, it just kind of like melts in my head together.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't know. Yeah. How about you? Did you get hit on when you were pregnant? Oh,
yeah.
You're like, yeah.
It's just weird. But again, I don't know if they noticed, So, but after the fact, I'm like, and I would like pop out, I'd be like, I'm pregnant. Like,
I don't know. Maybe some guys like that. That's gross, but okay.
That might be like a tab in a porn site or something. I don't know.
You look at your face.
It might be
like,
a kink. It might be a kink. I'm sure it's a kink. People have different kinks. If you're into it, that's on you. I can't even. Let me stop my comments.
All right, let me stop. Unsolicited advice.
Anyway,
I think. Let me see. Someone did tell me like I would drink a cup of coffee in the morning, and it was like, that better be decaf. Nah, bitch. It's caffeinated. I need to go with the caffeine in the morning. And it was okay. My doctor cleared it. He told me, you can have 1 cup, just 1 cup. He said, not the big cup, the 1 cup,
Yeah, 1 cup, yeah.
So, yeah, I was okay with that. But this person just every morning, it was like, that better be decaf. That better be decaf. And I know he was playing towards the end. That better be decaf because he was my coworker.
Yeah.
And he would see me every morning with my cup of Joe. So...
like, throw it in his face. Is it decaf? Tell me. Is it decaf? Yeah, no, that's annoying. That's really, really annoying. One of the things that people would comment on is, I told you, and I mentioned it before, me working out. I did not stop working out while I was pregnant. Tom and I would go to the gym together, and we would like, Tom's a lifter and like does all that, right? Minimal cardio, lifts, he walks a little bit, whatever. And when I was working out with him, I was lifting and like doing all these different types of workouts because I didn't want to go running. I didn't want to like do the high intensity workouts that I was used to. So I pivoted and I did all these workouts. And I remember this one girl, she was nice. She was really nice. And we started off talking about like, just like my water bottle, because I always carry like this
big
like
jug.
half-gallon jug. Yeah. She's like, oh, where'd you get it? Whatever. And we're talking, she's like, oh, like I was visibly pregnant, and she's like, oh, do you think it's okay for like, not, I'm wording it in a way that sounds very bad, but like she did it nicely. And she's like, oh, is it okay for you to do that type of workout or whatever? And my instinct was like rage, but then I was like, oh, she didn't mean it that way. I was like, yeah, it's fine. I've actually pivoted. I didn't do, I usually do high intensity workouts and things like that, but I pivoted to this, and this is actually easier. Not easier, but it's not as strenuous. Safer. And I'm here. It's safer. Yeah. So I explained that to her, but that was one of the times that I was like, and I would get looks sometimes at the gym when I was like
why
going
would
over
you,
here,
why
like
would you even put yourself in a position where, like, why would you be at the gym if you weren't clear to do it? Like, if it wasn't safe for you to do it? Like, I don't understand why people are just like, no, just mind your business a little bit. Just a little bit.
But in my head, though, there were sometimes like when people would give me a look or something, because you wouldn't tell from the back or from the front either that I was pregnant. I was still posting pictures on Instagram of me at the gym with Tom, and like you could not tell I was pregnant from the front. Turned sideways, you could see it. But I just remember some people would give me looks, and I had a bitch face. Like I was like, who are you looking at like that? Like, don't, And I just remember one of the guys was like looking at me, and in my head, I'm like, look at your fucking form. Like, focus on your form, which is real shitty, instead of focusing on me. All right. And I just remember I was raging. And like, I felt invincible because I was over here lifting weights, feeling strong, and I was pregnant with all these hormones. And I just remember that was when everybody was wearing masks at the gym. So we were all working out with masks. And I remember this one guy was over here hogging the bench on his phone and like doing all this. And I'm like, I told Tom, I was like, listen, I got to tell you, I'm about to flip out on this guy. So, because he's over here and I need to get the pull down bar, and he's over here just on his phone, babysitting, not doing shit. And he's like, I was like, I need to tell you because in case it gets physical, that's going to be on you.
You need to step in. It sounds like, peace out, see you later.
He's like, Giselle, he's like, do you want me to go? I'll go get it. And like, he'll go and do it. But like, I'm already ramped up, right? Because it's just all these hormones. I blame it on the hormones, but also that adrenaline of you feel strong and fit. You're like, oh, look at my biceps, look at my triceps, look at this. And you're just like, fuck me. You want to like, so yes, I understand where you're coming from with that. And it's happened a couple of times, but it's really been like me working out at the gym. But I would remember I would go on walks. Like I would do walks on hills and all that stuff. And I would be walking around visibly pregnant, and like cars would be honking like, hey, ma, what? And I'm like, you don't see my belly? Because I just remember that from before. I'm like, all right. But yeah, that was the majority of like the unsolicited advice. I would get some moms that would, while I was still pregnant, that would tell me, oh, make sure that you do like just the wooden toys, or just or again, like, pushing a certain
lifestyle
type of mothering and lifestyle and things like that, which I'm a scrunchy mom, so it kind of fit, leaning more towards the crunchy, so it kind of fit. So that was unsolicited, but I always met it with, I think I was so excited about the pregnancy and just everything. I always met it with, oh, okay, like that's what worked for you, cool. I never really looked at it as like, don't talk to me like that. I think my mom was probably the only one that
got
really
that side.
Got over.
Poor mom.
Yeah, but I didn't always react. But she would be the one to be like, okay, first of all, I need to say this. My mom is my mom is a great person. Okay, I don't want people being like, oh my God, she's terrible. But like, I would wear my regular summer dresses that were short, above the knee and whatever, but they were fitted. They were like jersey dresses, right? Jersey knit. And she'd be like, oh, don't you think this is small for you? And I had to like catch myself. And my brother, I remember this one, I was going to his house. I was like so annoyed. I was like, I needed to get away from her. And then that was the minute I walked into the house, and my brother's like, well, I mean, look at what you just told her. She just walked into the house. There wasn't a hello. There wasn't a whatever. And so, yeah, those are the unsolicited comments.
I just remembered something too. So my like the baby registry or whatever. I
Yeah, yeah,
got a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of, why don't you buy more pink for Sienna? And I was just like, I
Oh,
don't want her stuff to be pink. Like, I know she's a girl, but I was just like, I don't want pink because I had a lot of
right.
like gray, purples, yellows, blues. Like I had a little
Yeah,
bit mix of everything, but it was like, why don't you get her more pink? And like, there was people who actually showed up with stuff with pink stuff. And I was like, they were my friends,
mm,
so I wasn't like, like gonna push back or anything. It's like whatever. I wasn't like,
yeah,
no, no pink, but I wasn't crazy about the whole idea. And look at me now, that kind of backfired
yeah.
because that's like her favorite color.
Pink
Yeah.
and purple,
So, and
right?
her room is purple and gray, so it's like whatever. I had a theme in mind, and I was trying to stick to it. So it's just like people telling me, "Oh,
Yeah,
get her
yeah.
pink,
It's
get her
what you
pink, get
want,
her pink,"
though.
and I was like, "I didn't
Yeah,
want to get her pink." And then it's like I had the biggest roadblock
yeah.
because everything in the store was pink for for little girls.
For
Yeah,
girls, pink and
yeah, I don't like any of that
glittery.
stuff. So I
Yeah,
was just like, "Come on, come on." I think that was the biggest thing for me at some point. Somebody was just pushing the pink, 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 pink,
yeah.
and I was like, no.
Was that somebody your mom?
No, was
Let's
it?
be
No,
honest. No,
no, my mom wasn't because
I'm kidding.
my mom picked other fights because she was mad at me because I wouldn't
I gotcha.
disclose the name I had picked out because I was
Oh,
very
okay.
secretive about the name. I just didn't want to give it up.
Oh,
I did not want to give
okay.
up the name. What did you remember?
Okay. No, I was going to say, so when you did tell people the name, did you have anybody comment like, why that? Or why this spelling? Or
Oh,
why
yeah, obviously.
whatever?
People were like, oh, why did you spell it that way? And I was just like, it's a town in Italy. We visited Italy when we conceived her. You want the full story, how that happened? And
Oh, that's nice. That's
yeah,
actually really
when we
nice.
were on vacation in Italy, and we were like, we settled on, let's give her like an Italian city name. And then we bought out the map and we were in that area and we were like, oh, that's nice. So we named her Sienna. And Rose is because of my middle
Yeah.
name. So yeah,
Yeah.
I did get those questions, and obviously when I took it there, they were like, okay, okay, yeah. I was like, you want more details?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, my mom, and then
Yeah,
my
no.
mom, obviously,
It's
she butchered her name so many times. I don't know if she was upset because I wasn't. I don't know if she had
really.
a name in mind, and I was like, I didn't know you wanted to name my kids. Like,
Yeah.
but she was so bent. Like I wouldn't tell her. I told her the initials of what they were, and she was mad. She was like, "You trusted me this whole time with everything, and you won't tell me." And she like started crying. I was like, "Okay, Mexican drama." Like like what is this? Like we're on a telenovela. Like it was so bad. I remember that. I was
So,
like,
yeah.
really over the name. I was like, let's not talk about how I told you I was pregnant. I asked you not to tell anyone, and she told my older sister. And she knew, and she found out, she blabbed it to
Um,
everybody. So I was just like, good job. That's why I'm not telling you the name.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
any advice on the name?
Um,
Because everybody has advice on the
so
names.
I did get advice on the names. But I was very
Mm-hmm.
protective of, similar to you, like the
Mm-hmm.
name,
Mm-hmm.
even the gender. Like
You didn't tell anyone?
I didn't tell anybody the sex when we
Mm-hmm.
found out. I told people a little bit later when I was okay with
Mm-hmm.
accepting the unsolicited comments and
Okay.
things like that. But I was also between names. So like I wasn't sure. But I knew, it's so funny because like if you ask Tom, he's gonna say no, that's not why. But I picked Derek because
I
of
knew
Derek Jeter. And I was like, of course. Like but I didn't want so like that wasn't my
Mm-hmm.
first pick. That was just the first pick that him and I
Mm-hmm.
agreed on. Right? Like I wanted
Mm-hmm.
Sebastian. And I always say it in that way because I love that name
In
in
Spanish,
Spanish. And I also have to
English.
consider
Oh yeah,
how my mom's gonna
yeah,
say
yeah,
it and
yeah.
my family's gonna say it. Right? Because right now it's
Derek,
Derek,
Derek.
Derek,
Mm-hmm.
instead of Derek. But it is what it is. So I did get comments of, oh, you should do this instead of that. One comment that I got that I actually followed because I really liked that idea. And at first I was like, I don't know if I want to keep it. So I used my last name, my maiden name, as
Mm-hmm.
Derek's middle name.
Yes, that I would see that.
And
That's perfect, actually.
so I loved it. And that was actually, I think I mentioned that was
Mm-hmm.
Shannon. If you're listening, thank you. That's Tom's best friend's wife. That was the wedding that we went to
Mm-hmm.
the other day. And she was like, "Oh, that'll be pretty cool if you do that." And I was like, huh. But I had to, that was like midpoint during my pregnancy. So I had to process the idea of me carrying my dad's name
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
further, which I did hyphenate my name, and I didn't want to drop my last name, even though there's that history with my dad and all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. But it's a part of me and it's made me who I am. But I thought it would be a cool, like a nice idea to have my son
Mm-hmm.
be able to carry that name
Mm-hmm.
with him because it's a
Mm-hmm.
part of me, you know? So that was one of the
That's
advice,
nice.
the unsolicited advice that I did receive that I loved. Um, One of the things that people were, I guess, have commented on, other than the working out part, was I would drink
Mm-hmm.
kombucha. And the first trimester, I didn't because I was
Mm-hmm.
scared. Because everywhere you read, oh, don't drink it, blah blah blah, whatever. But I went to my doctor and I was like, oh, like, can I? He's like, yeah. He's like, "Yeah, just don't drink
Yeah,
a
it's not like
ton
you're
of
gonna
it. Like,
be
don't go through like multiple
guzzling it
bottles."
all day.
Yeah, guzzling like kombucha. I love kombucha, but I would be at work and I would have my water, my huge water bottle, and then I would have kombucha and I would sip out of. And I had some people comment on that, and it annoyed me. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's okay, it's fine, don't worry about it. Like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like my response. And like they would get it from then on, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't comment on other people's
Mm-hmm.
lives when they're not asking me for it. Um, but I would say that's, I didn't really I can't think of
Mm-hmm.
anything right now. I'm sure it happened, but I really can't think
Like
of
advice,
anything.
advice. Like I said, it was more like comments for me, like little comments and stuff.
Comments. The clothing thing definitely was a thing for me. Like, I like more
Mm-hmm.
neutrals, but I do like pops
Mm-hmm.
of color. So all the clothes I would get for Derek were in the grayish blue kind of area. But Tom actually was one of the people that would comment on it, and a couple of other people like, oh, he's a baby. You should get like Disney
Mm-hmm.
things and, like cartoon type of things like trucks and cars on the
Mm-hmm.
shirts and all that stuff. I'm like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want that. Like, I want a little polo
Yeah.
that's like striped. I want like nice little like tan neutral looking
Mm-hmm.
pants with a olive green
Mm-hmm.
sweater, things like that. And Tom actually would be like, those boring colors, look at this and that. I was like, well, you know what, when you pick out the clothes and you buy them, then you can comment and you can change. So like, but we find a compromise now, and I just
All
don't
those
like
stuff. Yeah.
the typical
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
superhero and all stuff. He's gonna get to a point where he's gonna pick out his own clothes. I'm gonna
To
lose the
do it.
ability
Yeah.
to tell him to wear this. Right now, I'm gonna dress him the way that
Yeah.
I want to dress him. And I mean, anybody that has a problem with it, I'm sorry. Did he come out of your vagina? No. Okay. 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 But yeah, so that was one of the things. Um, bottles. So like
Mm-hmm.
I was pumping,
Mm-hmm.
breastfeeding, right? Full time, but I also did
Mm-hmm.
bottle feeding. And so that also gave Tom an opportunity to bond with the baby. And so we both equally fed him. For the most part, I would pump, Tom would
Mm-hmm.
bottle feed. So like that was one of the things. And I would get people like, oh no, don't do that because then he's not going to be able to latch,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah,
don't,
like nipple
whatever,
confusion
that's
or
going to
whatever
mess
it's
up
called. Yeah.
nipple confusion. Yeah. And so I'm like, he's fine. He
Mm-hmm.
latches, he does fine. Like it was little things like that because I would second guess
Mm-hmm.
myself, right? Because I'm over here thinking, oh, maybe I am doing something wrong because I'm a first
Mm-hmm.
time mom and I'm learning as I go. So like that was one of the things that would get in my head of maybe I did mess something up. Maybe I
Mm-hmm.
am going to cause
Mm-hmm.
some sort of issue. So those were little comments that I would get like that. Trying to think of something else. I I think for me it was different though than you because it was the
Yeah.
pandemic, right? So like I didn't really see a lot of people and I wasn't posting Derek or any of that stuff. So for me, I was very protective
Mm-hmm.
of the bubble, right? Um But now that I'm more, I post more and I do things like that, I don't really get people to comment. I feel like people are learning, I would hope people are learning to not comment on other people's
Yeah.
parenting unless it's affecting their children. That I understand, because everybody has their own way, like gentle parenting, and whether you're vaccinating your kid or not, like that's controversial, right? Going to the doctor and a pediatrician, like a traditional doctor, those type of things. Like I do use homeopathic remedies. So like I would have people be like, oh, just give them Tylenol, or just do this, just do that. So I did have those type of comments. And I'm like, well, I explore both options. So I don't need you to like really, like comment in that sort of way. But I think my fuck it level has gone up like a little bit, my tolerance. I'm like, okay, whatever. All right, in one ear, out the other. Cool, thank you.
Like I said, you just
I'm going to go do what I got to do.
You wanna, if you want to follow it, yes. If not, then it's whatever. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
That's my thing too. Like, if you want to tell me, give them Tylenol, like you said, I'll try like my way first. And then if I need to, I'll do Tylenol. Like that's like my last resort kind of thing for me as well. Cause I do the homeopathic stuff too. So yeah, that's it for unsolicited advice for me. I don't know. I think just people knew better, except for the men. Except for the men.
Isn't that always the case? Yeah. They always think they know more. No. Oh, you know what's another thing? When people would be like, "Oh, are you guys gonna have another one right away?" No. Or like those type of comments would come. Yeah, those would roll around. I'm like, I'm still trying to navigate all of this right now. The last thing on my and I haven't slept in like months. The last thing on my mind is doing this again. But those type of comments.
That's one thing I did learn. I think like for just in general, I don't tell people like, oh, so when are you having the next one? I don't ask that question. Because I'm like, I don't want someone asking me that question.
I've definitely learned. Yeah. That is, okay, that's one thing I definitely learned too. Like prior to having a kid, like years before, I'd be like, oh, you guys gonna have another one? Yeah. And it's like, you don't realize just how annoying that question can be, because you also don't know the process they went through to have that one child right now, or like what it was giving birth. What kind of traumatic experience they had, if they did have a traumatic
bad memories.
So all of that. Right. Exactly. So I've also grown more sensitive to like making sure I don't say that, because it is almost like a natural reflex.
You just ask automatically, like, when are you having the next one?
Yeah, it's like word vomit.
It's
like,
out there, you can't take it back.
It just happens. Yeah. Or oh my goodness, I just had it and I forgot, because we were like, ooh, I'm gonna remember. I know I'm gonna remember. But the having another one, and obviously, I would get people saying about homeschooling versus traditional like methods, like going out to get an education and all of that stuff. And I would be like, I don't know. I considered the Montessori school and things like that.
Yeah, I've got
asked, I don't know what I'm going to do yet.
What was it? I think someone said, it was a coworker, are you going to put them in private school, right? Or Catholic school? And I was like, first of all, I'm not Catholic. And I was like, that doesn't work for me. Yeah. And private school, what do you think? I'm made out of money? You paying for it? Like, you're going to give me the money for that shit? Let's go. If you are, then all right, I'll do it.
But yeah, no problem. So I just remembered two things. Two comments that would constantly be made. When are you baptizing? Right? When are you baptizing the baby? And medicated birth versus unmedicated birth. You're not taking an epidural, are you? Or you're not whatever. And like it would be framed in that way. And I'm like, I don't know.
Like,
I don't think so. I mean, if I need it, I'm okay. Right. And it's like, but it's different if you're like, oh, have you decided whether you're going to do medicated or not medicated? Right. That's different. Right. As opposed to, you're not taking an
Oh, like
epidural,
kind
are
of like
you? Or you're
accusing
not
you of
doing a
shame on you for
medicated
taking
birth.
epidural kind of thing.
Yeah. Like shame on you. Right, right. So like even if at the time I was like, no, I'm not. Like I knew I didn't want to, right? But my response was automatic. And what if I were? Like what if I wanted
Like you
to?
don't
Like
know
how is
until
this
you're
an
there.
issue?
If you're feeling it like really badly and you want it, whatever, that is
Yeah. Yeah.
your choice. Again, it's
Which
your
is what happened
choice.
with
I don't
me. Yeah.
understand why you need to give me your opinion on my
Yeah.
choice. Like it's not. I didn't ask you to.
Yeah. 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 And then the baptism thing, oh my God. That came from all angles. That came from my family, outside people, friends, and all of that. And I'm just like, and you know, it was framed differently. When it comes from my mom or my aunt or somebody else, it's framed in a very judgmental way. When it comes from other people, not so much. But I'm not, my family is Catholic. I'm spiritual. You know, I have a certain belief system and I have gone to church in the past. I've actually gone to a Christian church more than I've gone to a Catholic church. But I don't practice in that traditional sense. I'm not even baptized. Like, so when my mom will come to me with, oh, are you going to baptize them? I'm like, did you baptize me? No. But you baptized my older brother though, you know, and like he went through the whole communion and all that stuff. But like that was an ongoing conversation between my mom and I, where there were times that I was like, I gotta go. I gotta go. Like, I'm not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not. And those were conversations that Tom and I had
I
prior
mean, like I
to,
said,
like,
you guys
where do we
already had
stand on
decided,
this? What are we
that
doing?
was what you guys
Yeah.
decided to do, not what anyone
Yeah.
else wants to come in and be
Yeah.
like, well, you need to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And like Tom is, you know, he's Irish. Like his family, Irish Catholic. Like so that's a thing in his family, but nobody in his
Pushing
family
it.
is like pushing. Like his mom knows. Yeah, she knows to not like comment on things like that. You know, they have a sense of awareness that my mom does. My mom does. But yeah, no, I would have people like, "Oh, did you baptize him, or did you? What's the other thing you
Baby
introduced
dedication.
him to
Yeah.
the church?"
Dedication.
Yeah, things like that. Like I got asked, and I was like, "No, no, I don't think I'm going to." I'd be like, "Oh, but you have to save the soul and like the spirit and cleanse them of the sin and blah 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 blah." Okay, cool. When you have your kid,
I'm
then you
like,
could
people
do
acting
that.
like they're not out there
Like
sinning. It's like,
I did exactly. I did say that once to somebody, and they were like, "Oh," because
yeah.
they didn't have kids yet, and I was like, "Well, when you have yours, you could do that." Like, you know. But those were the workout, the religion, baptism thing, and I forget the other one.
The
But
major
those were
ones.
the major ones that would really like bug me. Because it was just like, no. And so what if I don't, or whatever, like, oh, the clothes,
Yeah.
like the clothes, like get him superhero stuff and all of that. I'm like, no, I don't want him in bright blue and red, not Aquaman. What is that? Captain America stuff. But I would get them as gifts and then I would put it on Derek and I would take
Yeah,
pictures and I would send
exactly.
it to them
Yeah.
and I'd be like, thank you.
Whatever. That's easy to navigate.
But when we go outside, yeah. But when I would go outside, he would have his navy and white striped shirt, hoodie thing, polo, and then his beige pants that would be or jeans, you know, whatever. But I think the lesson here is, okay, smile. Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, cool. Do that. And then do what you want
as
to
long
do
as
no
you
matter
and
what.
your partner
It's
and
your
your
life,
kids,
your
that's your
kid.
decision. People need to respect it. And, you know, it's not like you're putting your kid in harm's way, doing any other stuff you are. If you are, then you might want to rethink. But unless you are,
if you are,
whatever.
yeah.
But as long as you know that this is what you want to do and this is how things are moving forward, you don't have to take anyone's advice, especially not unsolicited advice.
Agreed. Yes. But yeah, so I think we've covered.
Yes.
At least for us, whatever. Because again, we come from a place of, we're speaking from our experience, not from the general what ifs, because that would be never ending. But yeah, no, I think we covered it all. And just remember, lesson for any guy that might be listening for whatever reason that's not a dad. Do not comment on a woman's belly, size, hey, or ask, hey, are you pregnant? Or, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. Don't say
Think
things
about
like
it
that,
before you say it.
Trust me. She's done the research. She's done the research more than you have. I guarantee you that. There's no other. I feel like as a mom, I've never done so much research in my life over a topic than when I was pregnant. And I felt like I needed to prepare for that stage of my life. So if you're out there and you're giving moms advice on things and you're not a mom, and you're not coming from a good, helpful place, then check yourself, because I'm sure she's already done the research. And the last thing she needs is for somebody to say, hey, do it that way, unless she's asking you.
That's right.
Unless she's asking you. Because I do ask people for advice. But yeah, just be mindful of that. Because if you're a mom out there, you're doing a great job, right, Amy? That's the thing. You're doing a great job. Keep up doing what you're doing, and just know that, you're the one that knows best, you and your partner. If you're co-parenting, your co-parenting partner, whatever the situation is, you guys decide what works for you. And that's that's the right thing to move. The right thing to move, the right thing to do.
Yes.
And the right move
there
for
you go.
Anyway, anything else, Amy?
No more.
Throw in there?
No more things.
All right. And don't touch
God.
people's bellies.
Yeah.
Did I say that already? Don't touch people's bellies.
Unless they invite you to.
Yeah, don't do that. Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for listening again, and comment, like, subscribe, do whatever you guys want to do.
Bye.
And we'll see you next time.